race grid. It's Dragon Racing on pole. The highest Andretti car, to keep up the American support, is in 9th place for Matty Brabham. And we can hear from Michael Andretti now. He is talking to Nicky Shields as he makes his way off the grid.
Michael Andretti, what's the strategy going to be for your team this week? You are obviously at the top of the championship at the moment.
Well, we got to finish in the top. We've got to get our cars to finish in the top 10 and get points. And, you know, we'll see. I think it's a little bit of a race of survival where we're starting right now. And, you know, hopefully the two will get it up there. And, you know, we'll see how our strategy works out on how we're going to manage the energy and all that. So it's going to be quite an interesting race. Obviously, if a safety car comes out, it could change everything too. So, you know, you just never know.
And in terms of generating enough power from the regen, do you think the difference in the limiting the power is going to make an issue?
Well, yeah, that always comes into it, how you use it and, you know, how much energy you use, when and where. You know, I mean, those are all things that are all in our strategy. And like I said, I think probably the team that does the best job at that is probably the one that's going to win.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
I sometimes wonder if there's any point interviewing Michael Andretti.
Well,
he doesn't give much away.
He used to be a driver, didn't he? That was a perfect driver interview. Basically, I'm not going to tell you what our strategy is. We'll see if it works, and if it does, we'll look clever, and if not, well, there we go. That was a synopsis of it, wasn't it?
Yeah,
really?
no, very good, very good. So it'll be Oriol Servia starting this race on pole position here in Malaysia, and the fan boost we've already heard will go to Catherine Legg, Bruno Senna and Nick Heidfeld.
The Servia didn't get out of the car on the grid. It's really hot out there, and he just sat in the car. He's really focused, ready to do the job. But yeah, no getting out of the car, no cooling off, nothing. Ready to do battle.
And how do you think the drivers are feeling about overtaking around here? They think it seems reasonably possible. It's quite wide.
It looks pretty good, doesn't it? I think into 1, into 3, definitely. If somebody makes a mistake, which looks so easy to do, into that last corner as well. I think those are the big spots, but again, it's going to the power management where it comes in, where people choose to coast a little bit, all that sort of stuff. If there's any of that going on, is going to make a big difference. But there's at least 3 serious overtaking spots.
The brollies are up, but I think that's because of the sun rather than the rain at the moment. And there we can see Sam Bird, who will be starting in 2nd place on the grid. A good qualifying session for Sam Bird. And earlier on, we caught up with Bruno Senna when he won the fan boost. And he will be starting down in 8th on the grid.
Behind us. And I'm also here with Bruno Senna. You're another winner of the fan boost. Those Brazilian fans have been backing you all the way.
Indeed, yeah. I'm lucky that everybody's behind me. It's really late in Brazil right now, so I hope that people are watching us. But yeah, today we got 2 fan boosts now, and I think it's going to be very important. It's very tough to overtake here, and the cars ahead are quick. So yeah, let's push.
Now, you did actually get voted for the fan boost in the Beijing race, but of course you didn't actually get the opportunity to use it. Hopefully that's going to be different this time.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. I mean, it's as I said, it's a bit tighter here, but the track seems to be a bit more forgiving on the suspension of the car. So yeah, let's hope everything goes well, and hope I can get to use the fan boost both times and gain some positions with it.
And what are you going to be doing off the start line? Are you worried about not having a formation lap?
No, I think you know, we would do a very slow formation lap anyway. So in the end, it's all about making sure that you get your nose clean between turns 1, 2, and 3, and then from then on, just use a strategy to go forward.
Fantastic. Good luck. All the best. Thanks.
Yes, there won't be a formation lap. The cars will pull forward from the pre-grid onto the race grid, and then the lights will come on. They'll go off, and we'll be racing in Putrajaya, because at the speed at which they went around the formation lap to conserve energy, not only did it take forever, but it also didn't really do anything because they were going so slowly.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of those situations where what the drivers want and what the fans want weren't the same thing. We, you know, the people watching just said, look, it's taking too long. It's not achieving anything. The drivers are saying, oh, we can't quite warm up our brakes and our tyres, but you know, same for everybody, guys. Sorry about that, but that's it. We're going to go straight to the grid, right down to business today.
So there is the fans signing session that was going on earlier today, and it was really very busy down in the E-Village. And there's Matty Brabham behaving himself for a couple of selfies, and it's great to see the excitement that Formula E has caused. Everyone in the hotels is going, oh, good luck for today. Are you part of Formula E? Yeah, good luck for today. So everyone is very excited to see what this Formula E race is going to bring us here in Putrajaya in Malaysia, as as we look at the starting grid, we've only got about 4 minutes to go before this race gets underway. 31 laps of action about to come up. Lucas de Grassi, the championship leader, starting all the way down in 18th position on the grid. It's Oriol Servia. It's going to be. So, the green flag will go at the front of the field. The cars will pull forward to their main grid slot. Oriol Servia will line up. This is essentially the formation lap. They pull forward 3 slots, and that means that they will be ready to go racing here in Putrajaya.
So if you manage to warm your brakes up in those sort of 50 yards, then you're good to go. But now the start procedure is going to be as normal, and we're going to watch them try and attempt to funnel down into turn 1 and 2 chicane. Good news is lots of runoff. There's lots of escape routes which people were using a lot in practice. So a couple of options there if it gets a bit blocked up in the first corner.
So we're getting ready for the lights here in Putrajaya. It's Oriol Servia on the right-hand side in the Dragon car on pole position. It's Sam Bird alongside him on the front row of the grid. Daniel Abt and Jarno Trulli are on row 2, with Karun Chandok and Nelson Piquet Jr. on row 3. The cars are all in position, and now we just wait for the red lights. Here they come. 31 laps of racing coming up. The 5 red lights are on, and we go green in Malaysia, and it's a good start from Servia. It's a good start from Chandok. It's a bad start from Daniel Abt. The Abt car sliding backwards through the field. Everyone's avoided him. Here's Sam Bird going for the lead of the race. Almost a touch between them, but Servia holds on. Trulli's up into 3rd place then. 4th is Nelson Piquet Jr. 5th is Nick Heidfeld. A few cars cutting across the chicane, but what a terrible start that is for Daniel Abt. Look like he's got going again now, but all the way from 3rd on the grid right to the back of the pack. Side-by-side action here as Stefan Sarazan attacks up the inside of Antonio Felix da Costa, and he goes through. Everyone else filtering through down at turn 3. Frank Montani going on the attack, as is Nico Frost there trying to get past da Costa. That looks like it's going to be a tight one, but it is a good start from Oriol Servia as he holds the lead of the race. Here comes Montani. That's contact, surely. Yes, it is.
Multiple contact there. They were being so respectful. They managed to, turn 5 there before there was some contact. Everybody was playing nicely, but yeah, it wasn't going to last, was it?
Doesn't look like there's too much damage on the front of Montani's car as they now drop down through the right-hander of turn 7, then into the double lefts at turn 8 and 9. There's Nelson Piquet Jr., but it's Oriol Servia leading the way, and that's a spin for Catherine Legg. It looks like she's had contact, certainly with something, perhaps with someone. We'll have to wait and see.
Front wing's gone, yeah.
And she knows that she's retiring that car immediately, and that, facing the wrong way, is Matty Brabham down at the hairpin. Hopefully everyone's going to avoid him as well. Yellow flags are out down there, and everyone does just about squeeze through, and hopefully Brabham can get going again.
Yeah,
but
looks like he's stuck there.
Across the line they come at the end of lap 1. Servia leads, Sam Bird 2nd, Jarno Trulli in 3rd, and in 4th place is going to be Karun Chandok. Safety car has been deployed. Meanwhile, Catherine Legg has got going again, but the safety car is out. Presumably there's some debris on the circuit, and let's see if we can see what happened. Now here is the car, and it's, oh, she's gone to get past Cerruti and lost the back end as they come down into 7, and unfortunately
that wasn't really on.
No.
Unfortunately, just locked the rears. That's the problem at the start of the race with because the regen is not sure exactly how much you're going to get, so you've got to kind of play it by ear and adjust the brake balance, and obviously just caught Catherine out a little bit there, and there's the result.
And Michaela Cerruti, the innocent party in all of that, unfortunately. And this is what happened to Matty Brabham. He goes down the inside of Bruno Senna. Oh, and he hits, I think, Nick Heidfeld as well, going into the hairpin. And again, that looked like a braking issue.
It looked like he didn't press it.
But he's still going, at least, Matty Brabham. But the Qualcomm safety car has been deployed here in Putrajaya. Presumably, there is Catherine Legg's front wing on circuit, and that's the main concern for the race directors. Also, actually, I wonder if Michaela Cerruti is still going. No, she's come into the pits, Michaela Cerruti. There is the debris being recovered, so we may just have 1 lap of safety car action, because there's a bit of memorabilia. But there are our top 3 then, and Sam Bird almost got a look in at the start there, didn't he?
He thought about it, didn't he? And then he kind of backed off a little bit, and just a little bit of discretion there at the start. Sam's going to be feeling pretty good about it. His pace has been good in sort of race running as well, so I think he's probably going to be ready to pounce, and Oriol better be on his toes coming this restart.
So the cars making their way around behind the Qualcomm safety car. Oriol Servia holds the lead of the race. Jerome D'Ambrosio still at the back there. The safety car has actually picked up Matty Brabham, And this is the onboard from the safety car. It's actually picked up Matty Brabham, so that's
about half a lap
ideal.
out then. Yeah, not perfect. You know, going back to the regen for a minute, once you get from 100% of usable power down to 80%, that's when it starts to sort of stabilize and you can have a fairly consistent idea of what it's going to do. Before that, it's very much a moving target for the drivers, and they're adjusting the brake balance, trying to figure that out. So it's going to catch some people out, definitely.
So the big loser in all of that, obviously, was Daniel Abt, who went from 3rd down to 16th position. Cars 7, 8 and 11 are all under investigation, which is D'Ambrosio, Prost and Lucas Di Grassi, and they all started down at the back of the field. So I wonder if that could potentially be been because of a jump start, but we'll wait and see what the stewards decide to inform us of as the cars make their way down towards the first corner once again, waiting to be picked up by the safety car. But it looked as though the debris has all been cleared, so we should be able to get going again pretty soon.
Hopefully safety car in this lap, that would be nice. Get going.
31 laps of racing. We've now completed 2 of them, so we've got 31 laps to go. Oriol Servia at the front of the pack, not really sure what he ought to be doing because the safety car's been deployed, and now it looks like the safety car is waiting for the gang to pick them up and then probably pull them right back in to the pit lane. So let's have a little bit of a look back at the start of the race. So here we go again. Watch Daniel Abt here, and he just gets away and then it just dies on him.
Yeah, good start from Servia. Good start from Sam Bird too.
Let's see Sam Bird start in the purple and red Virgin on the left-hand side. He was behind Servia, but then got a really good run down to turn 1 and thought about having a look, but Servia squeezed him out and said, "No way, are you coming through there?" Da Costa made a reasonably good start. He almost had to go stationary in the middle of the pack there.
Yeah, it all checked up. Luckily nobody lost their front wing, because that's the typical situation.
Di Grassi, I reckon, might be in trouble for cutting the chicane. He's in that car right on the far right-hand side. You watch him come through here. He'll just skip across the chicane and, well, we just go out of shot, but as did Nico Prost. So I think that's what they're under investigation for. And then the run down towards turn 3. That's where we saw a bit of action with Antonio Felix da Costa.
Was that Prost or was that Buemi?
Well, Prost is the one under investigation. Yeah. This is the view on board from Daniel Abt as everyone cruises past him. Well, mind it, Jaime. And then he does manage to get up to speed again and get going. So a bit of a strange one there for Daniel Abt, and a real shame because he finished on the podium. Well, he finished in the top 3 on the track in Beijing, but was then demoted for a power infringement. So things don't really look like they're going his way. So there is the safety car. It has picked up the field. And there you can see the gaps, and there you can see he's staying in front of Montani there, but look at the cars bouncing here.
Absolutely, it's a very bumpy part of the track. Trulli looked like he's getting really close to Servia. In fact, might have just gone down the inside there of him.
I think you're right.
Yeah, braking for last corner, very, very tough.
So out they come onto the start-finish straight, and have we had the change for second position? Yes, we have. Jarno Trulli has got past, so good move from Trulli. That must have been going into the final corner. Piquet's all sorts of crossed up, just about getting
well
stopped.
Held. Absolutely well held. Let's see now if Trulli can catch up here with Sam Bird, or are we going to have a snake of cars running behind him trying to find a way past?
A Trulli train? Surely you're not suggesting a Trulli train, or
we haven't seen one for a while.
No, exactly. It'll be the Trulli E train, perhaps, as they come down towards the right-hander of turn 4 now. So Sam Bird takes the lead and is now 2.5 seconds clear of Jarno Trulli in second place. So that's really impressive. It looked as though Trulli got past at the final corner, and now we'll see what happens behind with Karun Chandok looking racing.
I think what Sam's going to do here is manage the gap. He doesn't need to get too far out ahead because he'll use extra energy to make that happen. Then a safety car comes out and it's all negated. So he's got to manage it. And there's definitely a sweet spot there. But yeah, Sam will be learning, you know, as it goes. But look how bumpy the place is. Really bumpy old track here. And getting pretty close to the hairpin.
Yep, I think this is on board with Nick Heidfeld. So as they come up towards the final corner, so does that mean that Chandok has got past as they come into the right-hander and out onto the start-finish straight again?
You look how hard they're working in the corners. And Heidfeld's using fan boost.
Okay, so Nick Heidfeld decides to use his fan boost.
But it's not actually... he hasn't made much ground. I was expecting... Oh, Senna's just locked up into the first corner.
Yeah, they fly through the left-hander. And I think that might have been Sarazan we were on board with, actually, because he was right up behind Bruno Senna. So that was Stefan Sarazan in the other Venturi that we were on board with, because he was behind Bruno Senna at the time.
I think we're going to have to mandate teammates different coloured helmets.
Yeah, exactly. So through the right-hander they come at turn 4.
Look at the torque turning the car sideways there with the instant torque of the electric motors. They are working ever so hard, trying to keep that momentum up through the corners, gain any little advantage that they can.
So there we can see battles going on. Everyone else's battery is correct, but obviously Oriol Servia doesn't have 100% battery. Piquet Jr. and Heidfeld have both got 73%, so they're looking in quite a good situation at the moment. We go on board with Bruno Senna. He is chasing down the man in front, and that man is Matty Brabham.
Look at that, what whole turn of lock in that hairpin there. So difficult to take your hands off the wheel like that, and especially when the car kicks sideways on the way out.
And he's running at 150 kilowatts at the moment, or just below it, actually, as he comes into the final corner, just struggling to get the, well, not struggling to get the back end into the corner. It was a bit too difficult to get it turned in, as Senna comes across the line then to complete lap 7. Here's the look from Chandok. He goes past Oriol Servia, coming down into the chicane, and now Nelson Piquet Jr. is going to try and go through as well as they come down towards turn number 3. Servia will have the inside line though, but we've seen that before.
Let's see if he manages the cutback. No, not quite as good there.
But Heidfeld is pushing hard, and Heidfeld might be able to take advantage of that past Nelson Piquet Jr. Not quite close enough. Montani chasing in as well. This is brilliant racing, isn't it? They're absolutely nose to tail.
One tiny mistake there and you're losing 2 places. It's Frank and inside again. He did the same earlier, didn't he?
And they've made contact this time, and Heidfeld's out. Surely that has broken Heidfeld's steering.
Frank just parked it.
And that could be the end of the race for Nick Heidfeld. Certainly looks like it, as he is parked in the barrier down there. So Frank Montani went to the inside line. It seemed to be a sort of clean move until the end of it. It
was very aggressive, wasn't it? It's such a tight corner, that, with a bump in the middle too, and it just obviously caught Frank out, overcommitted, and unfortunately Heidfeld was the innocent party. Yeah, again, he's got to be getting a bit fed up with that, I would say. Look how bumpy it is there.
Yeah, this is on board with Nelson Piquet Jr., who's in 5th place at the moment, up behind Oriol Servia. So it was Nelson Piquet Jr.'s onboard camera we were on earlier as we were chasing down Karun Chandok, and now he's chasing down Oriol Servia down towards turn 1. Is he going to be close enough for a look? Not quite. Feints towards the inside line, but isn't doing anything about it. And part of me wonders if Servia, we're getting battery saying that he's, and the safety car is deployed again for that accident for Nick Heidfeld, and that 3.8 second lead for Sam Bird all of a sudden turns into wasted energy.
Yeah, it's just gone, and that's the frustrating thing. Do you try and hope there's not going to be a safety car, or?
Oh, that's ambitious there, and the safety car has been deployed, but Bruno Senna and Frank Montani both go past Nelson Piquet Jr. and there we go. Senna lifts up his hand. Senna lifts up his hand. He said, "Yeah, sorry, that was my bad."
Oh crikey! Yeah, hopefully the FIA have seen it that way too. That was just, I think, maybe a bit of the competitive juices were flowing there a little bit. But yeah, Sam's lead has gone, unfortunately, and that's the tightrope that you walk all the time, especially in modern racing with safety cars coming up all the time. He's definitely got the pace though. He's got the fastest lap of the race so far. He was 3/10 quicker on that last lap, and he's got to be feeling fairly relaxed if he can get away on this restart. He made a great restart last time.
So the safety car is deployed again, and just to go back to the one thing I was about to say, Oriol Servia does seem to be struggling with pace all of a sudden in the race, but we're getting fed that he has 100% usable power remaining, and that comes direct from the telemetry on the car. So potentially the team are receiving that information as well and are having to sort of hedge their bets and just play it safe.
Exactly right. If that is the situation, it's like not having a fuel gauge.
Yeah,
that's what they're going through right now, and they're sitting there, don't know what the usable power left is. They've got to be conservative. Hopefully it'll fix itself when he gets into the second car.
So here comes Montani up on the inside of Heidfeld, not quite close enough to make a move, and then shoves him.
Just hooked wheels, didn't he? That's the kind of moves that Frank was making in China, and it was great. He just maybe overextended there just a little bit. Look, just hit the curb, and unfortunately pushed Heidfeld into the wall.
Yeah, and that allowed Bruno Senna to get past, in fact, as well. So Sam Bird is leading. Jarno Trulli is in 2nd place. Karun Chandok is in 3rd. Oriol Servia is in 4th. Nelson Piquet Jr. 5th. 6th for Bruno Senna. 7th for Frank Montani. Sarazan da Costa and Nico Prost completing the top 10. With Daniel Abt has come into the pits, actually. So Daniel Abt into the pits. Maybe that's a tactical move behind the safety car.
Bit early, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bit early for that. His qualifying was so impressive, though, to qualify right up there in that car that was clearly crabbing, and he damaged it. He did a wonderful job in qualifying there.
So Sam Bird, despite having pulled out that advantage, has about 3% more usable energy than Jarno Trulli behind him. And Nelson Piquet Jr. has 60%, so that's a good job. In comes Daniel Abt then, and
Wait, he's swapping cars.
he has swapped cars over, and so maybe it was a tactical decision, or maybe he's still got problems with that first car.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, really. Going back to Sam Bird for a second, he's got a technique. He carries a massive amount of speed through the corner, and I think it's really suiting these Formula E cars. His momentum that he's able to carry. Sometimes he overcooks the entry a little bit, but generally he's able to carry a load of speed through the middle, and that is definitely helping him.
Just wonder if it's a tall order for the Abt team, but if he now joins at the back of the pack and everyone else has to do a pit stop, which takes them 73 seconds from pit in to pit out, and he's just at the back of the track, having not lost much track position. There's a potential, and there's Michela Ceruti, the race over for her. There is a potential it might just work out for Daniel Abt, but it's a long shot.
21 laps, okay, call it 20.
As they crossed the line, he absolutely nailed that restart.
That was a belter, wasn't it? It was great for him, and not quite so good for Trulli.
Oriol Servia there in the black and silver Dragon car. We go on board with Nelson Piquet Jr. behind him, looking to the inside line, down into the right-hander of 4.
Servia's struggling, isn't he? It's just not right. He's being defensive there into 7. Yeah, something not quite right at all.
Lap 12 of 31.
The quick way looks using a lot of curb, and some cars are clearly able to use more curb than others without the car bouncing off the track a little bit. And Sam Bird on the track walk yesterday was talking about monstering the curbs, I think was the expression he used, and it's clearly working quite nicely. 3.2 seconds ahead right now.
Wow, it's a really impressive margin from Sam Bird as they flash through the left-hander and down towards the hairpin once more, and there's Nelson Piquet Jr. in a big moment of sideways action. Just about keeps it together. Montani's in the wars again. His front wing's gone. Bruno Senna says, what was that? And it all kicked off because Nelson Piquet Jr. lost the back end of the car as they now come around the final corner.
We've got Sam Bird well ahead, and then everybody else within spitting distance of each other.
Exactly. Oh, and that's a big moment on the exit there, and didn't quite catch who that was coming out of the final corner. And into the pits has come Frank Montani. It was the Venturi car of Stefan Sarazan that was going sideways out of the final corner. A look from Antonio Felix da Costa, but he's not quite close enough in the battle over 7th place.
Got a lovely exit there, so look for a bit of a move here coming down to turn 3.
And they need to be careful because de Grassi's right behind. Da Costa tries to sell about 20 dummies coming into turn 3. Oh, Nico Prost almost went into the back of de Grassi. That could give his teammates an opportunity. There's a spin in the background meanwhile for Ho Pin Tung. It's all kicking off here in Malaysia. There he goes, he's got going again, and he's dropped behind Daniel Abt now. We're only on lap 13 out of 31.
De Grassi up to P9.
Yep, very good run from him. He started in 18th position. There is the pit stop for the Andretti squad. Frank Montani second in... that's the spirit. Just get the boot in. Go on, lads, you can do it.
You know how much those cost.
Second in Beijing, but it's not going to be a strong result here in Putrajaya. And Aguri Suzuki enjoyed that.
If he can stay on the lead lap, though, we have another safety car. He's not out of it, but that's the trick, staying on the lead lap right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sam Bird continues to lead the way. 5.5 seconds clear up at the front. He's absolutely flying, Sam Bird. Really impressive performance from the Virgin car. And Senna is deploying his fan boost now then. And he is running in 6th place, just behind Nelson Piquet Jr. And you can see the fan boost in action as Senna pulls alongside, down towards turn number 1. Montani's coming out on the inside line, a front right lockup from Senna. Can't quite get the job done.
Yeah, I think, what about sideways? He's hit the wall.
He's hit the wall, yeah. You can see the steering immediately changes. Bruno Senna having to turn to the right. So that fan boost, unfortunately, guys, worked out badly for him because it's pushed him into the wall.
I wonder if that was extra torque, just of the the extra power. That car is barely badly damaged there. And that'll be, he's going to be in trouble, isn't he?
Yeah, so he might be able to keep going, but I think that would be ambitious to drive this for another 18 laps or so.
Montani was coming out of the pits just as he was as Senna was setting up that move. I wonder if that caused some of the issue.
But it was good to see that, and there is Heidfeld out of the race. but it's been great to see the fan boost in action. And but Nick Heidfeld won't be using the fan boost in action, and 2 gutting races now for Nick Heidfeld.
It's just not gone his way, has it, at all? The pace has been there. The pace has really been there, and it just hasn't worked out.
So Sam Bird continues to lap 1.4 seconds quicker than the rest of the pack. How?
I mean, he's carrying good momentum. He's got the car set up well. He's driving it well. But the last lap before that, he was 2.5 seconds quicker. I don't know if he's found a shortcut.
Yeah, maybe he's going straight on at turn 1 or something. But there he is, and there's the rest of the pack. We haven't seen this sort of domination. It's absolutely incredible as Jarno Trulli comes across the line now 7 seconds behind Sam Bird. And Trulli, you can see, is using a lot of energy. He's got only 28% of remaining energy available, but because of these 2 safety cars, they will be able to go longer into the race in these cars running on these batteries.
Yeah, certainly now with no warm-up laps, certainly more than 50% through the race. But Servia's looking a lot more competitive, isn't he? He's right there now, as opposed to, I don't think they managed to reset something in that second safety car period, but he's looking a bit better. Senna's still hanging on. He's still hanging on to the end of that group with a bent-up car. Yeah,
absolutely. Jarno Trulli really clousing the curves on the inside line there at turn 5. Now exiting through turn 6, we go on board with Oriol Servia, the experienced Spaniard, 40 years old, one of the oldest men in the field, him and Jarno Trulli, and they're running in 2nd and 4th positions. So there's something to be said for experience in Formula E, although Sam Bird, the youngster from Roehampton, I say youngster, he's 27, he's not the youngest guy we've got out there. That's a bit of a mistake there from Chandok, but no real room for Servia to get past.
I think that's where you see the experience and the patience of Servia. That is so difficult for one of these cars when you've got to do more than half a turn a lock. It makes it very, very difficult, and not something a lot of the guys are used to. Normally, half a turn is the maximum you'll ever do. Even at somewhere like Long Beach, you just speed up the ratio of the steering line.
So across the line has come Sam Bird quite a long time ago. He continues to lead for Virgin, 7.4 seconds clear of the 2nd place man, Jarno Trulli, who's then just under a second clear. And then we've got Frank Montani at the back of this pack, but he is classified down in 17th place at the moment. There you can see the steering on Bruno Senna's car. He's having to turn to the right in the straight lines because of where he hit the wall a few laps ago.
That's a third of a turn a lock there. That's a hard thing to do because you've got your reference is the top of your steering wheel. It's completely messing him up there.
It'll make the hairpin easier though, won't it?
It will make the hairpin. Well, actually worse because he's already right hand down.
Oh, okay,
he's going to have to do a turn in plus. So, yeah, very impressive the fact he's hanging on.
So the incident involving Nick Heidfeld and Frank Montani is under investigation, as is the incident between Catherine Legge and Michaela Cerruti, unsurprisingly. But Sam Bird is the man leading this race, and an absolutely superb drive from the young Englishman who was the Mercedes F1 development driver for the past couple of seasons, and we're seeing the rewards that they're reaping in Formula 1, and Sam Bird is reaping rewards here in Formula E as he comes through the final corner to complete his 16th lap of racing.
Isn't it always the way? When you're that dominant, you make it look easy. It doesn't look like he's pushing it, but he is. He's just nailing it in the right way, accelerating at the right point. Very, very smooth style from Sam Bird. The other guys have got a heck of a fight on their hands though, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. It's brilliant stuff from second downwards, really, as we go on board with Bruno Senna, who's right up behind Nelson Piquet Jr. Senna seems to have got around the issues that he's facing and is feinting towards the inside line, but not quite close enough to get past the Brazilian just yet.
The turn 1 camera is right in the middle of the braking zone, so you're actually seeing, it looks like it's a fair ways from the corner. It's actually in the middle of the braking zone, so that's the critical point. And as you can't see the apex until you're upon it, very, very easy to lock up.
Through the left-hander they come as they wind their way around Putrajaya. The next race will be in Uruguay at the start of December, around the streets of Punta del Este. But right now we're in Malaysia as we go on board with Senna then, and we can look at him looking towards the inside line. He's only got 19% of usable power remaining, so in the next couple of laps Senna will be coming in. What's he running to? He's just running to about 140 kilowatts at the moment. 150 is the maximum in race trim. And there's Matty Brabham, who seems to have had a drama. Maybe he's just found reverse or something like that. He's very frustrated.
He hasn't hit anything.
And maybe he's gone in straight into the barrier. We'll have to wait and see. And who's that off to the right hand side? Oh no, it's just they're coming in the pits. That's what it was. I thought Senna had gone off, but actually everyone was coming into the pits. So Trulli's in, Chandok's in, Servia's in, Piquet Jr.'s in. So Sam Bird has stayed out, as has Bruno Senna. So they're the men to watch out for.
Now let's see if anybody does what happened last time and jumps a few cars. It's about the minimum speed in pit lane, as much as because there's a minimum time you're allowed to have. And I think we'll see that strategy, and you've got to 1 kilometre an hour above it, or a fraction if you can be that accurate. Heidfeld nailed it in China.
So there is Antonio Felix da Costa, who's come in. He was running down in 10th position. So Sam Bird has stayed out there, which is equally impressive considering his pace. You can see the two Edams guys out there as well. It's only that middle pack, and they all seem to have almost responded to one another coming into the pits. And there is Sam Bird leading the way for the Virgin Racing squad.
Buemi's on the lead lap, so maybe that was a timing and scoring glitch earlier.
Okay, potentially, yeah. So he's right up behind Nico Prost, but there's some 14 seconds behind. And there's Matti Brabham and Bruno Senna, who have come together by the looks of things, or they've certainly both gone off at the same corner. And Matti Brabham, we just saw him recovering from an incident. So Senna stayed out, but that's not really going to help him at all. So it's only Sam Bird that has stayed out longer, and he's still going.
It's such an impressive performance. Can't say enough about what he's doing here.
So we need to now find out how the order in which people have come out the pits. There's Serbia coming out well ahead of Karun Chandok. So there is Karun Chandok coming out. So let's just try and figure out the order as they come out of the pits.
If there's a safety car, Sam Bird's going to have most of the field a lap down.
Yeah, that's very true. So there is Oriol Serbia then. When they came in, it was Trulli, Chandok, Serbia and Piquet. There you can see that there's 7% left in Sam Bird's car, so they obviously reckon they can get around and into the pits before they run out of their usable energy. Sebastian Buemi's in the pits. There's Lucas Di Grassi changing over as well. So we're getting very busy now in the pit lane. But Sam Bird continues to lead. In comes Matti Brabham.
This is where the problems happen. Guys exiting the garages, other cars are coming in. You can get caught up in somebody else's accident really, really quickly here.
That is Nico Prost in the pits. That is Lucas Di Grassi. But Sam Bird is still out in the lead of this race. Coming towards the end of the lap now. Just a couple of corners to go. Through the hairpin at turn 10.
I think we'll have him in this lap, don't you?
Yeah, it must be 4%. So they've pushed it right to the limit.
Look at the size
and have managed to get it off.
Look
and
at the size of the bumps
now
coming in there. Look at this. Massively difficult to even get into pit lane with the size of the bumps.
So good stuff from Sam Bird then and the Virgin team. They have judged that perfectly. Now here's the battle. Now this is Nelson Piquet Jr. coming out just behind Lucas Di Grassi. So Di Grassi has made up a couple of places there. We're still looking to see where everyone else in the pack has come out as well. Daniel Abt is now potentially in second position, but will he be able to make his engine last for the remainder of the race? Sebastian Buemi's going past his teammate Nico Prost.
Bit of mistake
going down into turn 3.
Yeah, locked up the fronts.
Yep, so Buemi goes through, and there is Sam Bird then in the pits, and he's only going to have to do 13 laps on this with this car, and he's already done 18, so he should be able to turn it up a bit as well.
Precisely, and he's going to have something in hand now in case of a safety car, in case his lead comes down, and that is the strategy you want. If you've got that much of an advantage, keep your powder dry, keep it ready for when it's if you need that extra speed later on.
So this is Nelson Piquet Jr. chasing down Lucas Di Grassi. Well, Di Grassi is currently showing as in 4th place, which is quite possible really if the ACT team did a good job in the pits, because that would make sense, because they're ahead of Karun Chandok, who's down in 10th place. So Chandok's the big loser really from all of this. He appears to have gone from 3rd to 10th at the moment. Here comes Sam Bird out of the pits, and in theory back into the lead of the race. Daniel Abt is still out there, but he's only got 50% of his usable power remaining.
I don't see any way you can do it, do you?
Down they come then. Trulli in 2nd place. 3rd is Lucas Di Grassi then. And then we've got 4th place for Nelson Piquet Jr. with the Edams cars right up behind him. So what happened to Karun Chandok? That's the big question. And because he went into the pits right behind Jarno Trulli, in front of Oriol Serbia and Nelson Piquet, but he's now running well down the order behind his teammate. We go on board then with Sebastian Buemi. Lucas Di Grassi's just set the fastest first sector of anyone in what is a net 3rd position. Still think Jarno Trulli is running in 2nd place, but he's only just in front of Lucas Di Grassi. There you can see then Daniel Abt leads the way, but he's already changed onto his 2nd car, so he's only got 49% remaining in his available power. Sam Bird essentially then leads the ePrix, unless Daniel Abt can do something magical, but I can't see how he could. We're hearing there's a bit of rain coming in the pit lane as well, but there's Sam Bird.
Definitely on the in-car there, rain on the in-car. Well, the good news is we're not going to have to stop to change tyres with the Michelins.
Exactly. So that is the good news. If the rain does start to fall, these tyres can work in wet and dry conditions. They can't work in full-on monsoon conditions. That is always a danger here in Malaysia, but nevertheless, out onto the start-finish straight comes Jarno Trulli. This is the battle then for a net second position as they come down towards the first chicane. Lucas de Grassi pushing hard, as we say. Daniel Abt is leading at the moment, but he changed into his second car a long, long time ago, and he's only got 46% of usable power remaining, which will surely not last him 11 laps. So this is the net battle for second position.
Sam Bird's advantage in usable power is massive.
Yeah.
You know, the problem here is going to be if it rains, there's a lot of lines in the street. They're not FIA paint. It's going to be unbelievably slippery out there. And then if we get the monsoon rain, look out. Then we might have some issues with the aquaplaning and that kind of stuff. But this is a heck of a battle. Look, we have got a Trulli train.
Yeah, exactly.
We have got a Trulli train here. And I'll be watching out for de Grassi here for a big move. He's made lots of progress up the grid, and he won't want it to stop now.
Yeah, started this race in 18th position, and now he's looking at getting second place. Lucas de Grassi, really strong performance from the Brazilian. Also from this man, Sebastian Buemi. He started in 19th place, and he's running well as well. And Jarno Trulli's been given a drive-through penalty for an energy infringement. It won't tell us exactly what, but Jarno Trulli, who's currently at the head of this train, has been handed a drive-through penalty. So that means Lucas de Grassi will be moving through past Trulli and up into second place. But will he know that? And also, can he afford to not pass Jarno Trulli, because he's got Nelson Piquet Jr. right out behind him as they come across the line?
Yeah, Piquet got a cracking run out of the last corner.
And here's the look from Nelson Piquet Jr. down into turn one, and Piquet Jr. goes through. Good move from Nelson Piquet, and he is passed. Also a drive-through penalty for car 27, which is Frank Montani, as if his day couldn't get any worse. Speeding in the pit lane, unfortunately for him, but he's running down in 17th place anyway at the moment. Through the right-hander they come.
Look at the momentum. When somebody's momentum is broken, the next car in the line is all over them as well. You've got to keep that momentum going, and it just takes the smallest mistake, and you're going to lose 2 or 3 spots here. This is unbelievably close racing.
It's brilliant, isn't it, as the Virgin Racing team watch on. Seeing their man, Sam Bird, essentially leading the way. He's in second place on the road, but the man in front of him, Daniel Abt, surely cannot last in the lead of the race. We've got 10 laps to go, and he's only got some 40% of usable energy remaining. Jarno Trulli flicking through the left-hander of turn 9, down into the hairpin. Nelson Piquet Jr. all of a sudden is looking very, very fast. This is the view from the rear of Lucas de Grassi's car.
Sam Bird, 8.7 seconds up the road here.
Yeah, really impressive. And he's lapping 5 seconds quicker than Daniel Abt. So there's the telemetry wheel we can see. 74% remaining from Lucas de Grassi. As he comes across the line, he's not quite using the full 150 kilowatts. Moves towards the inside line. How close is he to Nelson Piquet Jr. in front of him? Oh, very close, and that's Piquet Jr. off. Collides with Jarno Trulli on the way down towards the first corner, and that allows Lucas de Grassi to come through. Nelson Piquet Jr. might be out of the race. He's slowing.
Front tyres are towed in there. He's broken the front track rod.
So drama down at the first corner. Nelson Piquet Jr. in trouble and looking like he's out of the race. And he pulls off to the side, and that means that Trulli at the moment is still in that net second place, but Lucas de Grassi is right up behind him. I think Daniel Abt is trying to get this car to the end of the race, because he is in the lead of the race. He's doing 1:30s, which is 5 seconds a lap slower than the men behind him. So Bird and Trulli and all this gang was on Piquet, and
that's not on, is it? No. I don't know if he knew he was there or what, but Piquet's race is ruined because of the inattention. You can't go to the inside and then drive back to the outside. That's, yeah.
Yeah, that's an error from Jarno Trulli there, whether he knew Piquet was there or not.
Piquet was looking strong there. He was. Really strong.
That was the view from the back of Lucas de Grassi's car. Everything else was kicking off in front of it, but we saw him skip across the chicane, and there's the China Racing squad very unhappy. Now we go on board with Sebastian Buemi, who all of a sudden is challenging Lucas de Grassi in front of him as they come down towards the first corner. So the racing really is on here in Malaysia. You can see a few spots of rain on the onboard camera. Nothing too dramatic at the moment. That's easy for me to say, I suppose, as they come down towards turn 3. But now it's de Grassi. Jarno Trulli has come into the pits then to serve his drive-through penalty. Jarno Trulli in the pits at the moment, so this is the battle at the moment over third position, but what will surely become a net second position.
Buemi almost got him on the cutback there. Watch out for the movement at turn 7. But Buemi seems to have learned a lot of patience driving in the World Endurance Championship. He really does. He's become a much more complete driver. I think he had quite a short fuse before. He's definitely fixing that part of his game.
We've only got 8 laps to go, and Daniel Abt is still leading the way, 22 seconds clear of this battle, and lapping about 4 or 5 seconds a lap slower. So I don't think it's going to be enough for Daniel Abt, and even at this pace, whether he can make his battery last.
It might have been his only option.
Yeah.
I'm surprised how well it's actually gone on that strategy. But if that's the only option you've got to take it.
So we stay on board with Lucas de Grassi. They are some 11 seconds further down the road from Sam Bird.
Car slow in the back of the screen there. Not sure who that was. Maybe Catherine Legg. Looked like a blue car.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out for that one as we go on board, or stay on board with de Grassi. Now we go on board
quite well there,
with Sebastian Buemi coming down into the first corner. Feints to the inside line. Not close enough. Oh, there was a look behind there. I think that was Bruno Senna attacking Jerome D'Ambrosio. Did he get through? I couldn't quite make out from the back of that shot, but certainly Bruno Senna had an attack. And, well, big lock-up from de Grassi. Will he get that stop? Yes, just about. You can see Daniel Abt only has 28% of remaining power. So it's going to be really touch and go for him as they slide their way through the right-hander of turn 4. And meanwhile, D'Ambrosio, I think, is still ahead of Bruno Senna. So there's Abt, our race leader, just flashing through shot. Then there is Sam Bird, lapping 3 seconds a lap quicker than the German in front of him.
10.5-second lead on de Grassi there, so he's probably at this point just thinking, okay, just back it off just a little bit, no need to set the world alight.
But he's still got to do enough to catch and pass Daniel Abt as he comes up towards the final corner. You can see how quickly Bird is closing in because Abt is having to run at a lower pace to try and eke this car out.
I'd love to see what power level he's running at right now and how much coast. And here comes Sam Bird already. He's almost on him. Look how little downforce they're running on the rear. How laid back that rear wing is.
Yeah, it's impressive stuff as Daniel Abt makes his way through the first chicane. Then in the lead of the race, we go on board with Sebastian Buemi, who pulls over to the right-hand side. And was that just a cover from his teammate Nico Prost on the run down towards the first chicane?
Yep, absolutely.
Now Senna's getting past D'Ambrosio into turn 1. Senna finds the inside line and moves up into net 6th position.
Impressive in a car that's had more than a wee bit of contact with the wall today.
Absolutely. So something happened then on that last lap to Sebastian Buemi because he lost about half a second in that final sector to his teammate Nico Prost, and equally dropped well off the back of Lucas de Grassi in front of him. So just to give you a recap, Daniel Abt is leading this race with 6 laps to go for the Abt team, but in second place is Sam Bird, 4 seconds behind and lapping 4 seconds a lap quicker. So it won't be very long before Sam Bird is right up and past Daniel Abt. But Abt had to pit early, decided to come in and switch over under the safety car conditions, so he didn't lose too much track time and gain track position, and it looks like it could possibly be a reasonable shout. He was at the back of the field anyway, but Sam Bird is certainly going to pass him before too long.
You've got to think how quick Abt's been this weekend, so clearly he's got the thing turned down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just trying to make it live.
And there is Hans-Jürgen Abt on the pit wall as they come down towards the first corner. And there you can see the gap coming down, and it won't be long. Oh, Sam Bird just straight lines the chicane there.
Not sure that kind of pushing that hard is maybe necessary right now.
No, he's right up behind the back of Daniel Abt. And there you can see Abt has got 20% battery or available power remaining, so he is really having to cruise. He's doing a really good job of managing it, though. And Daniel Abt waves Sam Bird past. So now Sam Bird, oh, goodness me. That was a little tighter than I thought it was going to be. But Sam Bird now moves into the lead of the race, and Delight in the Virgin Garage, and he now has essentially a 10-second lead over his nearest challengers.
Not bad, 4 laps to go.
No, it's looking good for Sam Bird. There is Jarno Trulli, so he's out of the race. He had to serve his drive-through penalty, but then things have taken a turn for the worst as well for Jarno Trulli.
The day started so well for them, didn't it? And it just went from bad to worse.
Well, he wasn't even particularly happy with his qualifying, was he? Because they didn't get full power out of the car, but he managed to start in 4th place. He was running as high as 2nd, but looks as though they've gone over their battery usage in that first stint of the race. So really, the scrap is on for 2nd place. This is what it all comes down to in the last 5 laps. Sam Bird has got this essentially wrapped up. He's in the lead of this race. He's
that better not be the commentator's curse there, Jack.
No, exactly. He's not showing on the timing screens right now, but I think that's just a glitch. There he comes across the line, and he is in the lead of the race. And all these guys are now closing in. Is De Grassi going to pass Abt? And Abt has acted as a bit of a rear gunner for his Abt teammate. Oh, big lockup from De Grassi. Gets it stopped. Meanwhile, Sebastian Buemi doesn't. He has to straight line the chicane, so these guys pushing so hard.
I think Abt's too slow to help his teammate out. Quite honestly, I just think the pace that he's having to run at, the other two will blow by on. The Edam's cars very, very close together and have done for about 2 laps now, so you might see a wee bit of action between these two, because they've had a bit of a tough day, and they want to get on the podium here.
And they've still got Bruno Senna running behind him. Then it's Jerome D'Ambrosio in 7th place. Karun Chandok is in 8th position. It's 9th for our for Jaime Alguersuari, 10th for our poleman Oriol Servia. So now we go on board with Sebastian Buemi, running almost to the max of the 150 there, as he's got 36% of usable power remaining. He is now right up behind the 2 Abt cars. So Daniel Abt will surely move out of the way for his teammate without much argument. There he goes, and Daniel Abt doing a good job actually getting out of the way of the chasing pack.
I'm not sure Buemi gave him any option whatsoever there. I think honestly that was a very forceful, quite rightly so, move from Buemi. Looks like Prost got held up behind him though. Yeah,
Prost has lost a bit of time and will now look to the inside coming into the final corner. There's only a certain amount of defending he can do.
Just him get airborne on that bump there.
Yeah, Nico Prost pushing super hard, so that means that he has now dropped, and Senna uses his fan boost. So this is a chance for Bruno Senna to get past Nico Prost. Gets the extra power from the fan boost and gets up alongside down into turn 1. And Bruno Senna goes through, and that is 4th position now for Senna.
We've been waiting all day to see Senna pass Prost, haven't we?
Yeah, exactly. I've been waiting my whole career. And so Senna is up into 4th position. And there's an example of the fan boost. It doesn't, and Catherine Legg is using hers as well, but she's all by herself out there at the moment, down in 16th position, so it's not going to be a huge advantage to her. But that's the thing with the fan boost. It doesn't change the whole course of the race, but it just gives you a little boost. Maybe you can get 1 place, and Senna has got that 4th position.
You've got to take your hat off to what Bruno Senna's doing. Let's not forget that car's been in the wall today, and you know, he's running so well, up to P4.
But this is our man in 2nd place, Lucas Di Grassi. He's got Sebastian Buemi right up behind him. They're 7.6 seconds behind Sam Bird, who appears to be slowing down a little bit, but probably just managing the power usage that he has available, and he's only got 3 laps to go, so he's just taking it easy as Sam Bird. And this would, of course, be interesting, because it would keep Lucas Di Grassi at the top of the championship, but Sam Bird would move up into 2nd place in the championship, having finished 3rd in the opening round in Beijing. But this is a good run from the Virgin crew, and he's still got way more battery left than anyone else. He's on 33%, a good 8% more than Lucas Di Grassi in 2nd place. So that's very, very interesting.
Running the perfect strategy, as I said, keeping something in hand just in case he needs it. Got it. Di Grassi, great job again from the back of the grid.
And Buemi came with them, of course.
Yeah, good point.
They were 18th and 19th on the grid, Di Grassi and Buemi, and they're going to finish this race, by the looks of it, in 2nd and 3rd positions. In exactly what order of 2nd and 3rd? We've still got a couple of laps to find out. We're on the penultimate lap of racing here in Malaysia, in the 2nd round of the FIA Formula E Championship, and it has been absolutely action-packed.
Yeah, Buemi's getting up to the back end here of Di Grassi, isn't he? Let's see if there's a move on. I think looking up to this last lap, we're going to see some moves into turn 1, turn 3.
So we saw the last lap drama in Beijing just a couple of months ago. Karun Chandok has just got past Daniel Abt. In fact, Abt has now slipped down out of the points, unfortunately, but with only 2 laps to go, it was worth a punt, wasn't it? It almost picked up a couple of points, but it's this battle over 2nd place that is really the one to watch. Lucas Di Grassi has got slightly less remaining available energy than Sebastian Buemi behind, and Bruno Senna as well has got a good amount left in the tank as well as they come across the line to start the final lap of the race. It's nose to tail for second position. Sam Bird is out in the lead of this one and looking comfortable, but on the final lap, it's De Grassi second, it's Buemi third, and it's Bruno Senna fourth.
I think a couple of safety car laps there, and that would have been looking not too bad. It might have worked for him. He had to throw the dice, I think, in his situation. Yeah. Look at Buemi just sort of moving up onto the back end there of De Grassi.
There's Sam Bird down into turn 4. Then here comes De Grassi. If anything, it's Senna that's closest to Buemi at the moment. Through turns 5 and 6 comes Sam Bird. A really strong performance from the Englishman, flashing through in the Virgin Racing car. And what a superb performance this has been on so many levels from Sam Bird.
Dominant performance. Yeah,
staying well away from the walls. That's the sort of commentator's curse that can get you in trouble as he comes through the left-hander of 9, down into the hairpin of turn 10. Really taking it steady now, Sam Bird, as he gets the car locked in. And Senna's off and in the wall. On the final lap of the race, Bruno Senna loses it. That means Nico Prost will go through and up into 4th place. Senna was really pushing hard, but no matter how hard anyone pushed, they couldn't stop Sam Bird, who exits the final corner and wins in Putrajaya, the second round of the FIA Formula E Championship. It's victory for Sam Bird and Virgin. Delight on the pit wall for the team. Second place for Lucas Di Grassi. It's third for Sebastian Buemi. Fourth across the line is his Edam's teammate, Bruno Senna. And fourth, his Edam's teammate, Nico Prost, I should say. Then it'll be Jerome D'Ambrosio in 5th. And there is Bruno Senna. Good to see him out of the car, because that was a hefty impact there.
Big hit, and that was one of the points that the drivers talked about. They didn't want to go off there. Great job again, De Grassi Buemi on the podium from the back of the grid.
Yeah, really strong stuff as the cars continue to make their way around. Have we got any more battles to be resolved? Well, let's have a look at this. He just throws it into turn 9.
Look, he lost the rear.
Yeah, maybe that was his last chance, inside into 10, to take more speed through.
But to lose the rear at that point, that's a big shot.
Yeah.
There's not much of that left, is there? The tub stood up well yet again. But it was weird that the back went at a point where you're not going to be accelerating hard. Maybe you hit a bump wrong or something. There's our winner.
Sam Bird. Wonderful performance from Sam Bird as he waves to the crowd around the circuit in a really entertaining race. It has to be said, it was nose to tail throughout, except for Sam Bird, who, if anything, was the most boring element of it.
Yeah, he did a great job to stick the place up, didn't he? But what a wonderful race behind there, nose to tail.
And Bruno Senna, a shame as well, because he'd used the fan boost to such good effect as well. Lucas Di Grassi and Sebastian Buemi will be the happiest men out there.
I wonder if something finally gave up.
Pulling into the pit lane, Oriol Serbia there, finishing with 1% of battery available power remaining. As the cars pull in, Sebastian Buemi in 3rd spot, but there's our race winner, Sam Bird. Really impressive performance. GP2 runner-up in the past, and he proves why he's a very quick driver. Absolutely elated with that as he takes victory in Putrajaya. He goes over to congratulate the men that he didn't really race because he was so far up the road. But De Grassi and Buemi were having a nice little fight as well, and the camaraderie in Formula E is great, and De Grassi is ecstatic.
He's a happy boy. That's one of those situations when Sam Bird walks back and says, "What happened, boys? I didn't see any of it."
Absolutely.
He's a happy chap. Look at that.
Yeah.
This hand they're going to have there.
Yep. And I think they'll be very satisfied. Daniel Abt did manage to get a 10th place, actually, because of that retirement for Bruno Senna. So it was worth the gamble because he was right at the back of the pack. Although it was quite a high rate of attrition, so he might have got there anyway.
Yeah, rightly so, though. Good, you know, who knows what issues they were suffering with that first car.
So Sam Bird has been weighed. High fives all around with Benoit Dupont, the sporting director. And then he makes his way down to his team. An absolute delight for the Virgin gang. Hard work inside that cockpit by the looks of things. Fred Vasseur, the boss of Spark Technologies. And high fives with the Abt team as well. And so we can now hear from Sam Bird, our race winner in Putrajaya. He's about to be accosted by Nicky Shields.
Sam Bird, congratulations. You were absolutely unstoppable.
Yeah, it was mega, you know. The guys did an amazing job this weekend. We've really turned it around from pre-season, and I've got to say thanks to these guys here for giving me what was an unstoppable car today. The first stint we did the damage, and second car I just got it around really. There was no real need to push and just conserve the energy, and you know, other people were pushing at the end, getting closer, but we had it well under control.
And you used both of those safety cars really to your advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, overtaking in one and getting a great gap in the other, catching everybody sleeping. So very happy with today. Obviously, Lucas did an amazing job as well, coming from the back. So did Sebastian. I mean, I don't know how you got there, but mega.
That is very impressive, Lucas. All the way from the back of the grid up to second. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was an amazing race. I did a much better race than Beijing. The car performed really well. I had a lot of fights from the beginning of the race to the very end, and to finish second from last is something unbelievable. I'm happier than I am in Beijing, and coming out as a championship leader also is a great feeling.
So what can we expect for the future?
Well, less mistakes from my side and keep the good push for the races.
Fantastic, well done.
Good to hear from Lucas di Grassi. Sam Bird saying, no idea how Lucas di Grassi, how he got up into second place, and to be honest, I'm not sure if I do.
No. It was a great job though, absolutely great. You know, his pace was good.
Yeah.
Both him and Buemi's pace, very, very good. Actually, looking at the fastest laps, they're quite close. But Sam Bird's pace and ability to manage the power was the key there.
Let's hear now from Sebastian Buemi, our third place finisher.
Well, Sebastian Buemi, another brilliant example of the race is never over until the very end. You came right from the back of the grid to third.
Yeah, exactly. From P20, I think last position, to finish third is not too bad, I would say. We didn't have a great pace today, but we didn't make any mistakes. So in the end, third place is all we could expect really from our poor qualifying.
Why do you not think you had the pace today?
Well, I think we did some changes on the car and we are still learning. We thought it would be better, but in the end it was a little worse. So, you know, I'm very happy with the pace I had. To finish third is really good.
And what were the changes you were making?
We were trying to find a better setup, obviously, trying to make the car a little softer, and I think that was a little bit too much.
And how did you find the heat today? It's a lot hotter than it was in Beijing.
Yeah, it was good. Obviously, you know, the car not so physical, but it was good to have a good race in dry condition, no rain. So really happy with today's results.
Fantastic, thank you.
So Sebastian Buemi will now make his way up to the podium. Reasonably satisfied Buemi. I'd expect him to be a little chirpier considering how far down he started on the grid. And it was a very good drive from him, but it was Sam Bird who took victory, weaving across the line, and he took the checker flag for his Virgin Racing Formula E team. Hashtag Sam Boost. And he certainly had enough pace today without the Sam Boost. Without the fan boost, I should say. The Sam Boost isn't the thing, that's just his personal hashtag. Although he will be absolutely over the moon with that result. As you see the skyline of Putrajaya and what an entertaining race that turned into. Sam Bird then wins the race, 4.1 seconds clear of Lucas di Grassi in the end, but that doesn't really tell the story of domination that it was for the Virgin driver today. Di Grassi finishing second, Sebastian Buemi and Nico Prost finishing in third and fourth for the Edam's Renault team. Jerome D'Ambrosio had a good run to fifth place for Dragon. He started 20th on the grid, so it really was a race of comebacks. Karun Chandok finished sixth. Poleman Oriol Servia could only manage seventh at the end. Antonio Felix da Costa in eighth. Alguersuari and Abt completing the top 10. Ho Pin Tung had a spin or two. He finished down in 11th place. Stefan Sarazan was a little bit anonymous in that race.
Easy for you to say.
Exactly, and he finished down in 12th position. And then the men who had dramas, Matti Brabham, Bruno Senna crashing out on the final lap. Montani, Legg, Trulli, Piquet Jr., Heidfeld and Cerruti, the non-classified runners. Well, a spectacular race in Putrajaya, and so far I think certainly in Beijing and even more so here, Formula E is going almost beyond expectations of the racing that we're seeing. It's been phenomenal.
Brilliant racing, absolutely incredibly close, and we're seeing that the smallest mistake is punished absolutely, so you've got to be perfect, otherwise there's cars coming past you left and right. And I have to say though, just such a dominant performance today from Sam Bird. The rest of the field, you could throw a rug over them. He was gone though, he was at a different postcode today.
it's like it's got the sort of competitiveness of touring cars, doesn't it? The moment you lose one position, everyone else is coming past you. There are the rain clouds on their way for later on. Looking forward to that. That'll no doubt arrive in the next couple of hours. But good that it didn't happen during the race. There is Alejandro Agag, the CEO of Formula E, congratulating everyone out there, and he's cheered Sebastian Buemi up a little bit.
I'll say that you're talking about touring cars. There's not a lot of guys driving into each other and make all the passes, you know, and that says a lot for the talent of the drivers and how close they're racing without that. Yeah, there's contact occasionally, but it's not the norm, and you know, I think it's important to keep it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. There is Sam Bird, then our race winner on the left-hand side. Never driven a Formula 1 Grand Prix, Sam Bird, but he was the Mercedes third driver for a couple of years. And now a full-time racer with the Virgin Racing team. And then Lucas de Grassi and
I think they've been told
on the podium, yeah.
They've been given their marching orders on the podium here not to get any champagne on the Prime Minister and that kind of stuff.
It's a good job Montani's not up there, actually, because that would be the first thing he'd do, wouldn't it? So there are the victors. That's Alex Ty on the left-hand side, the team principal of the Virgin Racing team. And he was, for a brief period, in charge of the Virgin Racing team principal of the Virgin Racing. Whether it's Virgin or whether it's Bird, whether Alguersuari can do the same, but we just haven't been able to see it.
A lot of it is the technique, and you could see that from the first race sim at Donington Park. He was able to carry, and his technique is to carry a lot of entry mid-corner speed, which seems to be working in these cars. So, you know, fair play to him. Him and his engineer have figured it out. I think the only mistake he made all day, he ran through the chicane once while coming up behind Abt, didn't he? Apart from that, flawless. Absolutely flawless.
Absolutely. So Lucas de Grassi talking to Alex Ty, but now it's time for the podium procedure to get underway. And well, they're just trying to figure out which order the podium is going to go in. But it'll be Sam Bird going out first, I would be reasonably sure of, as the race winner in Putrajaya. Sam Bird emerges to the roar of the crowd, and he climbs on to the top step of the podium in Malaysia. Second place on the podium for Lucas de Grassi, and third spot for Sebastian Buemi. And a really strong performance from the English. And there is the Prime Minister, Mr. Najib Razak, on the podium. And the trophy is about to be awarded to our winning drivers and team representatives here. And it's Sam Bird, the race winner, who will receive his trophy. And that'll be very, very satisfying for him in such a competitive championship. He takes victory, he takes the trophy, and he is the winner of the second ever FIA Formula E race here in Putrajaya. The winning team trophy going to Alex Ty, again from the Prime Minister, Mr. Najib Razak. Lucas de Grassi finishing in second place. Great drive from him, as we've said. 18th on the grid to third in the race. And then third place for Sebastian Buemi, the Swiss racer. A strong drive from Buemi after another difficult qualifying. And so now the drivers will all pose for a photo on the top step of the podium, as they all gather up on the top. And it's Sam Bird victorious here in Malaysia. Lucas de Grassi remains at the top of the championship, and it's a third place finish for Sebastian Buemi. And now the Prime Minister has gone, they've checked, and it's time for the champagne. Alex Tai getting a soaking. But a wonderful race here in Malaysia. And Sam Berg gets a bash on the head for his troubles from de Grassi's champagne bottle. Tell you what, that champagne bottle's bigger than Sam Bird, isn't it?
I was thinking that, I didn't want to say it though.
So the champagne is dropped down to the team below. Alex Tai gets soaked.
Just thinking about the Senna accident, did he hit the wall in the first car or the second car when he bent the toe arm?
Well, it's a good question.
Yeah, maybe it was a different car.
Yeah,
not sure on that one.
Oh yeah, but
so sorry folks, completely ignore my comments on something breaking on the car.
So here's a look at the Drivers' Championship at the end of round 2 in the Putrajaya ePrix. Lucas de Grassi on the top, 3 points clear of Frank Montani, very close at the top, but Frank Montani and Jerome D'Ambrosio and Karun Chandok all tied on 18 points in joint third position. And then we've got Buemi, Prost and Serbia all tied on 15 points as well, so it is mightily close up at the top of the championship, but crucially it's Lucas de Grassi leading. 14 drivers have scored points in the opening 2 races. Antonio Felix da Costa picking up 2 points more in his one appearance for Anna Naguri than Takuma Sato managed. So that's good news for da Costa. Jaime Alguersuari 11th. So as the humidity starts to pick up and the clouds start to come in here in Malaysia, it's going to be... In fact, was that a bit of thunder?
We're hearing some thunder in the background, yeah.
So we've been Formula E are going to start at 4 o'clock local time, which is in about 50 minutes time. So I think that's a very wise decision to move the racing a little bit earlier. But what a weekend it's been, and what a track it's been as well. And it was a better race than Beijing. Was that the track? Was that drivers getting used to the cars, teams getting used to the cars?
I think of all of the above, really. But it was this track from the moment that we started the track walk yesterday. All the drivers were sort of coming around. This is a proper track. This is, you know, such a difference in corners, not just 90 degrees or chicanes or hairpins. It's got everything. Some undulations, a load of bumps in it. Real challenge for the drivers. Very easy to make a mistake. A great track for racing, though. A great location, and yeah, it's the kind of place I walked around yesterday and thought, oh, I wouldn't mind a wee burn round here.
So the fans making their way away from the circuit, or perhaps to the E-Village. They've certainly had an entertaining day. Great to see so many members of the public here as well. And a lot of places you can get free general admission, where you can stand up against the barriers, or well, not quite up against the barriers, but pretty close to the barriers, and see the action. And what a spectacle these cars made on the circuit as well. I mean, we've been in the commentary box for all of the sessions, but speaking to some of the journos, they're saying the cars on track here look absolutely brilliant. We can now hear from Karun Chandok, who in the early stages was running in 3rd position. He ended up finishing in 6th. He's with Nikki.
Karun Chandok, you had a few issues at your pit stop. Can you just explain to us what happened?
Yeah, it's a real shame, because I was running in 3rd place behind Yano before the pit stop, and we're quicker than him, but I didn't want to risk because I knew I'd get him in the 2nd stint if I needed to. And unfortunately, the mechanic who normally does our seat belts is in hospital. He's dying from heat exhaustion. Not dying, but he was suffering from heat exhaustion. And so we had to get a replacement mechanic, so we were just a bit slow in the pit stop. It's not really their fault, it's just one of those things. But it shows, you know, Formula E is a team sport. We lost 14 seconds, and in the end result, 14 seconds would have been 2nd place, you know, behind Sam. So we gave away another podium today. You know, we lost one in Beijing with the temperature issue. We lost one here for the pit stop. So, you know, we're quick enough, but we just need to have a clean weekend and we can get a podium soon.
Thanks very much, Karen.
So, there is Karun Chandok, frustrated with that, but a 6th place is still a pretty strong finish for the Indian racer. But what a superb